I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see because it'll pop up then. Okay, so we are live streaming right now, and I re-zip that. It should show us live streaming, but not yet. Anyway, uh, anyway, here we are. So, and I'll put the link actually in the chat too, so y'all can check it out. But yeah, that is basically nothing formal. It really is very informal. Everything that we do here, very informal, very open, and here we are live on YouTube. Okay. Let me close all these other windows I have open now. So look at how beautiful you all are. My goodness, it's killing me here. All right. So we're here to read and study A Course of Love. And so I'm just going to play a short song to kind of get us centered and ready to listen. Share. So I'm just going to play a short song to kind of get us not that. I don't know what's going on with my share here now. So, but maybe I won't play a song. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Okay, stop that. Go to advanced. Go to there. Let's see what happens. All right. All right. And here's our song.
There is a still small voice within me. It whispers things that always comfort me. I am the love, I am the peace within you. Follow me. There is a spirit deep within me. It always speaks of truth and harmony. We are the same. There is no separation. Follow me. Oh, there is a universe within me. It tells me things no one would dare to say. I am the life, I am the resurrection. Follow me, follow me, follow me. I am the way.
All right. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful song by Lou Doty, Still Small Voice. And that's really what it is, right? This still small voice within us that's making this work and keeping us going. So I'm just so grateful. We are, uh, we're in chapter 2 now of A Course of Love, and we started it last week, and hopefully we'll get through more of it this week. We're already in chapter 3 in the group with Glenn, but I'm not a speed reader, so uh, we're gonna get it. Who would like to read? I believe paragraph 2.3, and whoever decides to read, you can read several paragraphs if you want. Read as much as you like, and if you find something that you would like to stop and discuss, please feel free to do so. Who would like to read paragraph 3? Brooklyn, please go ahead, dear.
Namaste, mighty companions. So good to be here. Because love. Rafi and I were just talking about this. Because love has no physical form, you cannot believe that love could be what you are, what you strive to be, what you seek to return to. Thus, you believe you are something other than love and separate from love. You label love a feeling and one of many. Yet you have been told there are but two forms which you choose, love and fear. Because you have chosen fear so many times and labeled it so many things, you no longer recognize it as fear. The same is true of love. We've been so brainwashed all our lives. Yeah. And fear is very seductive because it's familiar. And thank God we keep reminding each other. Yeah, I went to the dentist again today. That's why my throat sounds like this.
Oh, no.
The dentist. Love is the name you give to much you fear. You think that it is possible to choose it as a means to buy your safety and security. You thus have defined love as a reaction to fear. This is why you can understand love as fear's opposite. This is true enough, but because you have not properly recognized fear as nothing, you have not properly recognized love as everything. It is because of the attributes you have given fear that love has been given attributes. Only separate things have attributes and qualities that seem to complement or oppose. Love has no attributes, which is why it cannot be taught. If love cannot be taught, but only recognized, how is this recognition made possible? Through love's effects, for cause and effects are one. Creation is love's effect, as are you. What I know about love, I sure didn't know about when I was younger. But now, without Jesus saved only the love, now I can see the love. But yeah, there's a definite fear of love. Of course, people have the wrong ideas of it. I love you so much, I'm going to kill you if you look at someone else. You know, or I love you so much, I want to put you in my pocket and smother you, you know. I love you so much, you're not meant for this world. Let me get rid of you so you don't have any problem. You know, like love is, yeah, very misused. And it's attached to fear. Of course, if that's what love is, I'm going to kill you if you look at someone else. I'm going to protect you so much you're going to be smothered. Or, yeah, that's pretty fearful. Yeah. I'm glad we found out. I'm finding out.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Me too, Brooklyn. Rafi, please go ahead.
When it solidified in me that love was the state of being and fear is merely another feeling. And if you label a feeling, then you give it power. And feelings are just energy and they just come up to leave. We make a big deal out of fear because that's how egos operate. And we tend to identify with that. When you pull your when I pulled my identity away from that and focused it on realizing that everything is love and that fear is just another feeling. And feelings aren't facts, they're feelings. And you know, how can energy that's coming up to leave anyway give you trouble when there's no you to be troubled and love is the only reality?
Beautiful. Thank you, Rafi. Yes, exactly. So, there, as long as the only thing that is real is love. And I love that it says here, love has no attributes, which is why it cannot be taught. You can't, there's no proper definition in words, or you can only kind of point to love, but you can't really teach love or know love in the state that we're in, because it's only a concept in the state that we're in. No matter how emotional we may feel about it, it's still only a concept, because the state that we're in when we're in the ego mind is incapable of really understanding equality. And equality is the only way that you're going to ever have actual love is when there's equality, complete and total. Um, as long as I'm seeing any sort of separation, I can't experience the wholeness that I am and that love is. Let's see, I got several hands up, so yay. Hi, Annie. Please go ahead. You are muted, honey.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry for my lateness. Um, I just wanted to attempt to express something here. And words are difficult because even though we're working through a course of love, it is a whole teaching. So it may say something in a certain context and then change in a different context. And one of the blessings I found, one of the greatest discoveries I found, was understanding inwardly the difference between love, the source of all existence, and what's called the Christ or the created. Because love never changes. It doesn't ever become more than one. That's why we can anchor in it, because it's there. You just have to be consciously aware of it. But then there's this thing called the Christ, or let there be light. And that's love's one mind that is able to manifest infinitely. So then you come into form and time and a lot more complexity. So it's good to be clear, because that's why Jesus says love can't be physical. Love doesn't manifest. It has light that is able to manifest physicality or whatever you want to talk about. So it's being clear which one we're talking about, and we're both. We're pure oneness, but we're also infinite creation. So anyway, thanks for listening. I'm complete.
Oh, I love that. And what a thank you for so much for that beautiful explanation, Annie. Uh, and I see how, because of the way the thinking mind works, and is has a necessity for having some explainable reason why things are a certain way or things work a certain way, that we have to put it somehow into expression. And whether that expression is in words, which is pretty much what we're used to, or other forms of expression, same thing. It's all love. It's all love in many forms and uh, uh, appearances, but it's like the kaleidoscope, or a crystal that you can hang in the window, and it will break up the pure white light and turn it into rainbow colors everywhere. Well, the light is still pure white, but but the but the part of it that we're seeing is the colors of the rainbow. And so it doesn't change what the love is. It's just how we experience or express it. Uh, and, I'm not Forrest Gump. I don't really know what love is. but, but I know, that I can see the reflection of it. And I love that he says, if love cannot be taught but only recognized, how is this recognition made possible? Through love's effect, through the colors of the rainbow.
Mm.
And the light that shines through it is the same. The light never changes. It's just how we see it. Creation is love's effect, as are you. So thank you so much for that, Annie. And did you want to say something else?
Oh, just that in relation to love, it's where A Course in Miracles calls us back to the beginning, and A Course of Love calls us back to our source. So that it's the willingness to return to our source where you discover love. So, and then you can't unknow what you've come to know. So anyway, I'm complete.
Thank you, Annie. I love that. Beautiful. Brooklyn, did you want to say something?
God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. Love is in everything I see because love is in my heart or mind. So it could be, this is love.
Yeah.
This is love. I drink a lot of tea. The computer's love. Everything is love. And as Baba Ram Dass would say, God in drag.
That's right. Thank you.
Like you said about the crystals, one light, many facets.
Mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Annie, did you want to respond, or do we want to go to Rafi?
Oh, just words are tricky. You know what I mean? It's like it's where love is our pure oneness, light is our manyness. And we're both. It's the art of both. So we're saying the same thing. It's just that in my direct experience, love isn't the manifesting principle. Light is our divine manifesting principle. So it's
Yes.
a really deep inner, because you can get love, but you have to be both. You have to be both love and light. So anyway, words are tricky.
So tricky. That's right. Oh, thank you so much for that, Annie. I appreciate you bringing that up. I don't know what's going on here. I guess I must have got logged out of Pal Talk. Uh, anyway, Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, here's how sneaky it is. Last night on the Release Technique World Call, the instructor said, I don't want, and you put in the words you want, so I put in success. I don't want success because, and the aversion came up from the ego mind. I don't want success because If I get too successful, I'll be too happy and people won't like me. So that's a fear-based concept. And shining on is I'm protecting you, but you can't protect yourself with fear. But the ego mind uses that as a guise, as a trick, and to keep us enslaved. And I looked at that, and I was very glad I was able to discover it. And I let go of a lot of it. This morning on the Course in Miracles Zoom thing I was on, I was able to find even a little more of that residue and let even more of it go, and get to the point where, since I am, and double back this up, I am, are the same thing. If I am everything, how can I not have everything? Okay, it's even in a dream, it's not possible. So I looked at all of that and I thought, well, that was a sneaky little aversion to having. There's a list of about three or four career successes that I have not been able to manifest, and that was the reason why. And when I looked at it, the simpler the reason, the simpler the cause, the easier it is to nail it down and let it go. And the easiest to see how the ego mind will use fear to confuse us with love, confusion with love. And of course, you can't. There are 9 questions in a release technique, and question number 8 is, could I let go of protecting myself with fear? And I went back over that a few times, kept meditating, and it just made that whole aversion to success dissolve and evaporate. And then I was back in unconditional love again, which is, of course, the only reality. It's a state of being. It's not a feeling.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rafi. And yes, and it is a state of being that we're in always. And we forget that that's where we are. We think that we're somewhere else, and we become confused and disoriented. Uh, but the fact is, where we are is in that very place that you just mentioned, and that's the only place that we can be. Let's see. And Bob says, "You're not alone, my brother. I face the same issue." um, the fear that success would change and bring me to the dark side. And then Elizabeth said, I get that, Annie. The light is, love is within the light. Words cannot define, resonates in the soul within, so to speak. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what it is. I would never say that we are trying to put into words anything that's true.
Yeah.
Because that would be like probably the most ridiculous. Let me put into words what's true.
It
Because
just
the words
it
themselves are lies. Go
it just
ahead.
it just to me solves the
Was
dilemma
that
when
Annie?
we speak that. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It just, for me, my internal world solves the dilemma when we hear that love has no attributes and love has no form. Because when you directly experience love, it's literally no thing. It's not nothing, but it's just love. And then it says, let there be light, and love's able to be everything. So it's just solving that dilemma the way Jesus speaks when he says, well, love has no form. Yes, that's true. But love has light, which is its form. So I would hate to think I was confusing anyone.
Oh,
I'm interested in us all having clarity. But I just feel that when you get that, you can understand Jesus's languaging a lot easier, because there's often a lot of confusion over form.
yeah. I don't think anyone was confused. I
Oh,
for one
okay.
was not confused. I don't think was anyone confused.
Oh,
I, for
cool.
one, was
Okay.
not confused in any way at all.
Yeah.
Uh, I've heard very clearly, I believe, what you were saying. Uh,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
but if I didn't reflect that back to you, then maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
If I wasn't,
I'll just be honest. I find words play a huge role, but until you have the revelation of the words, they can sound a bit too complex. So
yeah.
anyway, I'll be quiet.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine, honey. I appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else does too. So let's see, who would like to read paragraphs, starting at paragraph 2.6? And we'll just read on for a bit and see if there's anything else that flushes up. Would that be you, Annie? Is your hand still up or?
Oh, sorry, no, I'll take
Okay.
that down. Sorry.
Take that
Not
down.
really good at all this stuff. Okay.
You're cool. You're good. All right. All right, then you're going to have to hear me. Okay. Paragraph 6. This is A Course of Love, my volume. This is chapter the first book, chapter 2, um, paragraph 6. To believe that you are able to act in love in one instance and act in anger in another, and that both actions originate from the same place, is an error of enormous proportions. You again label love a sometimes component and think that to act in love more frequently is an achievement. You label acting from love good and acting out of anger bad. You feel that you are capable of loving acts of heroic proportions and fearful actions of horrific consequence, acts of bravery and acts of cowardice, acts of passion you call love, and acts of passion you call violence. And of course, I mean, basically, he's talking to the ego. That this is how the ego operates. So I think we pretty well are pretty well aware of that. You feel unable to control the most extreme of these actions that arise from these extremes of feeling. Both ends of feelings are considered dangerous, and a middle ground is sought. It is said that one can love too much and too little, but never enough. Love is not something you do, it is what you are. And this is to Rafi's point as well. To continue to identify love incorrectly is to continue to be unable to identify yourself. And so, yes, so if there's any personalization of any of it, or any qualification of any of it, or uh, anything that would make it anything other than completely
Mm,
equal everywhere, it can't possibly be love. So if we're calling it love and we're identifying it by some kind of qualifier, like I love you because you're so sweet, or I love you because you love me, or I love you because you're taller than me, or I love you, whatever the reasonings that are behind it, none of those could possibly be true about actual love, because love itself can't be split up in that way. So 2.7, to continue to identify love incorrectly is to continue to live in hell. As much as highs and lows of intense feeling are sought by some to be avoided, it is in the in between of passionless living that hell is solidified and becomes quite real. You can label joy heaven and pain hell and seek the middle ground for your reality, thinking there are more than these two choices. The life of little joy and little pain is seen as a successful life, for life of joy is seen as nothing more than a daydream, a life of pain, a nightmare. And so, yeah, I guess he's really just talking about the basic world that the the walking dead, or the those who live in this world but have no thought whatsoever of anything other than the conditions of their life, uh, that's a real nightmare. And most of the people that uh, appear to be in this world seem to be living in that place of this vast nightmare dream. Uh, but again, is there really anybody out there doing this? Is there anything like this going on? Wow. 2-8. Into this confusion of love's reality, you add the contents of your history, the learned facts, and the assigned theories of your existence. Although your purpose here remains obscure, you identify some things you call progress and others that you call evolution, and you hope you have some minuscule role to play in advancing the status of humankind. This is the most you have any hope of doing, and few of you believe you will succeed. Others refuse to think of life in terms of purpose and thereby condemn themselves to purposeless lives, convinced one person among billions makes no difference and is of no consequence. Still others put on blinders to the world and seek only to make their corner of it more safe and secure. Some shift from one option to the next, giving up on one and hoping that the other will bring them some peace. To think that these are the only options available to the creatures of a living God is insane. Yet you believe that to think the opposite is true insanity. Given even your limited view of who you are, could this really be true? Wow. Yeah, what a great question. Is it possible that it could be true that this is it and that this world is, my whole life and my whole existence and what I am? That's crazy to think that. That's insane to think that. And Bob was put in the chat, spiritual zombies. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's most of the world is living this life of just, moving through the motions. And so, what's different? How am I different in any way from that? And do I think that one person among billions can make a difference? It's not just one person among billions. It's one being in a universe of billions upon billions upon billions upon billions. And so what is, if you think of yourself in that way, then it seems insane to think that you could make a difference or change anything. But of course, we're all pretty well aware of the fact that none of that is really true. This is all just a projection of of a mind that's, just kind of driven mad by the idea of separation and just making more and more and more and more insanity as we look at it. So I don't know. What do you think? Anybody have any thoughts that they'd like to share about this? All right, then I'll read on. 2-9.
Brooklyn has her hand up.
Oh, Brooklyn. Yeah, please go ahead, honey.
What comes to me is running amok. People were running amok.
That's what appears, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it appears that way. And as much as we're into this spirituality and seeing the world in a different way and seeing through the eyes of the Christ, uh I still get caught up in the running amok. I still get caught up in the stories and the dreams and the ideas. And so and I I know if I do, and this is something that I you know work on much more of my time than I ever imagined I ever could. I just can't imagine if you have no thought about this, how terrifying the world must be, and how terrifying your life must be, if this is how you see things can be, if you believe that this is true. Let's see. Rafi has his hand up. Go ahead, Rafi.
Well, here's a perfect example of this run amok business. We have everybody, not everybody, but most people believe that the world is real and they have to deal with it. I got to get something from it. I got to protect myself from it. I got to fix this. I got to change that. I got to handle this. I got to rationalize this. I got to justify. I need an explanation. Okay, all of that is a tremendous amount of mind activity, which keeps us from away the divine presence of love that we really are. Here's a small example of that. Yesterday, I had to go to a local grade school so I could re-register so I could go back and volunteer to be a reader as I have been doing for over 20 years in the school. And for some reason, I was in pride and it was difficult. Now, if it's beingness, if it's our infinite beingness, everything is effortless and easy and runs smoothly. And I was going and I realized, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why is this so difficult? It doesn't have to be difficult. So I let go of wanting to figure out what was going on. I let go of wanting to know what to do about it, and I just released even more of that. And then I just turned everything over to beingness, our infinite self. And 20 minutes later, two people came and rushed to help me in the office they were in. They couldn't have done more for me. And in less than 20 minutes, it was all taken care of. And there's the perfect example. And I just, I thought, my first thought was, thank you. There's proof you want it. Prove it to yourself. There was the,
Absolutely.
there was the
Absolutely.
proof.
Yep, yep. The world you see is what you're looking for. I love it. Thank you. Annie, yes, please go ahead.
I'm just wondering if everyone would indulge me a story, because when I experienced this, it showed me so much. So, if is that okay if I tell a
Oh,
quick
we're here
story?
for your story.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
So, this was way before A Course of Love came into my hands, and I apologize for my Aussie accent. But anyway, um, uh, this was way before A Course of Love. And I was traveling in Australia in a very, very remote area in a four-wheel drive with a big trailer at the back, a closed trailer that had all of our stuff in it. And in Australia, there's very strict rules. When you go to a national park, you have to pre-book and have paid, or there's very steep fines, about that. So anyway, we're going in a very remote area, very rocky, not desert area, but very remote. Um, and we were going to a campground, ironically called The Wall. And so we've got our four-wheel drive and our trailer, and if we had known the entry into the campground was absolutely crazy. It was such a steep, craggy, difficult entry that by the time we got to the bottom, we'd done a lot of damage to the vehicle and the trailer. And we were booked in one and paid for one night in this campground. And the exit from the campground, you didn't have to go back up this steep incline. It was just like a circle, and you just went out a different exit. So the partner I had at the time, he tried to do work on the trailer and vehicle, and we ended up being there 2 nights. And he seemed to be in a lot of pain. Anyway, so we sort of drive out. We head out the other exit, and we're heading out. And all of a sudden, my partner started screaming with pain. And there was a huge cleared area. And I said, why don't we just pull over and have a picnic? That was my solution. So as we pulled over, something went very wrong with the vehicle, and he couldn't change gears. And bottom line, pure chaos broke out. the trailer's wrecked, the vehicle's wrecked, my partner's wrecked, he's screaming. And I laid out a blanket and I just said to him, just sit down for a minute. Let's just stop. And there was no mobile phone pickup there, so we couldn't ring anyone, but we did have a satellite phone. So I could have made some calls. So there was this awareness in this dilemma that Annie could have used her human thinking and tried to solve, got on the phone, used my thinking, tried to solve this mess. Okay. But because I'd been with A Course in Miracles, I thought it's about time I applied what we're taught. So there was a big log, and I said to my partner, just get in the car and lie down. And Annie went and sat on this big log. So if you're looking at Annie, it seems like she's doing nothing. But what I did do was the willingness to reconnect with my real mind. So when I was sitting on the log, all of a sudden I'm this spaciousness, this boundaryless mind, the mind of God, basically. And this mind is full of an intelligent universal substance. That's what forms, the formless forms. So I just was willing to not go into my human thinking, to be this mind that we all are. And what happened then, in the same moment as that cause, I'm looking out, and on the dirt road way out in front of me, 3 vehicles drive past. And if you live where we live, Shelley would relate to this, you would know what happened was impossible. So 3 vehicles drive past that I can see. This is where you see the formless formed. And the vehicles went up and turned around and came back, came onto the grassed area and all parked in front of me. One was an ambulance, one was a ranger's vehicle, and one was a police vehicle with 2 burly police officers in it. So they park in front of me and they all get out and they said, what are you doing way out here? Because it was 4-wheel drive territory. And I said, I don't know. What are you doing here? And they said, we don't know. Now, the burly police officers fixed the trailer and the 4-wheel drive. The ambulance fixed my partner, and the ranger said, look, I've checked and you haven't paid and you shouldn't be here. And he said, and I thought he was going to fine me. And he said, don't worry, I'm going to put a thing on your vehicle that you can stay here as long as you like, no money. Just don't worry about it. So in less than 20 minutes, Universal Mind had it all sorted, and it didn't take any time. My thinking would have taken endless time. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just in awe of it. And even when I know this, I frequently go back into my thinking.
Yes.
It's this art of not doing that and going directly to Universal Mind. So thank you for listening, but that showed me so much. So I hope maybe it serves something. Anyway, I'm complete.
Oh, that's a gorgeous story. Thank you so much for that, Annie. And yes, as you were telling that, I was thinking about when Sandy and I, when we first arrived in Scotland, and the whole situation that happened with us, and having been completely rescued by in the middle of the night at the train station by
Yeah.
2 young men who just happened to be out inspecting the train tracks. It was like, where did they come from? And had no idea that they were gonna. We were completely. We would have been sleeping basically on that little train station because there were no more trains, and these 2 fellows just walked up in the middle of the night and came and got us and took us in their truck and took us
Yeah,
took us to town.
beautiful.
It was just a beautiful thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
because there's no, we're here, we are perfectly cared for. That's the thing. We are perfectly cared for in all ways. So
As long as the personal mind doesn't interfere,
it
it's
doesn't
the
matter.
universal mind that takes care of all of its form. So, yeah. I remember that, Lynn. That was beautiful. I remember that.
It was
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even really matter, Annie, because
Mm.
that's what's going to happen anyway. It's the universal mind taking care of us, whether I notice it or not. It's just being
Yeah,
able
that's a yes no for me. But anyway, I respect that. Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Bob, yeah, please go ahead.
Because of what she said, I've got to offer something that happened today. Lynn, you know, I just finished reading that book. So I'm walking around the house. I'm on a high you wouldn't believe. Well, my wife and I have to go to the grocery store. We get out to the car. There's no key. It's a fob for the new type of cars. The one on the hook is dead in the doornail, and the only one we had is missing. Now, 6 months ago, I would have been in a frenzy. I would have been acting like a major drama queen about, oh my God, what are we going to do? But no, a little voice said, nothing is ever lost. It's only misplaced temporarily. I had heard that before, but at this moment I heard it again. We calmly walked around and looked, and at the same time, I went over and reached into the side of one chair that I normally sit in. My wife reached into the side of the other chair and found the key.
Yes. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. And yeah, and a lot of times when something like that, maybe you'll say, Saint Anthony, help me find this or whatever. It's really just a way of just letting go of my control of it and just letting it be and letting it be. And it is. So thank you, thank you. Annie, did you want to say something else?
No,
Okay, your
that
hand is still up.
thank
So
you.
okay,
That story was gorgeous. Thank you. I love hearing
absolutely.
things like that.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see who else has got their hand up raised. Let's see. Rico.
Good evening, family and friends. I send you love and life. My heart's yours. I just wanted to chime in. You reminded me of my youth. I used to lose a lot of things, and my mother would stop me and say, "Stop looking for it. Sit down." And she'd say, "Repeat after me. Nothing can hide from the spirit. Nothing can hide from God. Now just sit and be still and be quiet." And somehow or another, things would appear. It's crazy. I still remember that to this day. Now I know what she was doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Nothing can hide from spirit. So I'm going to read a little bit more of this before our time is up because I want to get to that paragraph 10 that Rodrigo pointed out the other night in the meeting, which is the only paragraph in the whole thing that I highlighted, which was crazy. So 2:9, the insanity of your thought process and the world you perceive must be made known to you before you are willing to give it up. You do know this, and yet you constantly forget. This forgetting is the work of your ego. Your true self does not want to forget and cannot for even the tiniest fraction of 1 second. So you can't actually forget at all. It is precisely the inability of your true self to forget that gives you hope of learning to recognize love. And with that recognition of with that recognition of ending the insanity you now perceive. 2:10. Your real self is the Christ in you. How could it be anything but love or see with eyes other than those of love? Would you expect any decent human being to look on a loveless world, on misery and despair, and not be moved? Think not that those who seem to add to the world's misery are any exception. I just want to stop there for just a moment because it's so easy for me to judge that, there are people that they just don't care. They just don't care. They're really they're just not good people. But Jesus says, don't think not that those who seem to add to the world's misery are any exception. They are just as moved as everyone else. There is not a soul that walks this earth that does not weep at what it sees. Yet the Christ in you does not weep, for the Christ in you sees with eyes of love. The difference is the eyes of love see not the misery or despair. They are not there. This is the miracle. The miracle is true seeing. Think not that love can look on misery and see love there. Love looks not on misery at all. And I just wanted to read this because this is something that I think, that the Course of Miracles is very clear on this. I mean, it's a whole section about true empathy. It talks so often about that the Holy Spirit doesn't see suffering, and that when our minds are healed, we will not see suffering either. We won't even understand what suffering is because it's not really happening. But we, through our ego mind and our interpretation of the world that we see, we look around and we see suffering everywhere. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, the animals are not being treated right. The children are starving. The earthquakes are coming. That's all. We just look and see suffering everywhere. But how could it be that suffering exists, or that there is something that I need to fix or change or be afraid of or wonder or worry about in this world, if what I'm seeing is not the real world? The Christ doesn't see suffering. The Christ sees love. And I think that kind of goes into the thinking that I'm always saying: look for the love, look for the helpers. Whatever you think that you're seeing something that is um, broken and depressing and sad, look for the love that's there, because it is there. And so often, we'll see, where people seem to be in a really bad situation, and yet there are people there that are bringing food, or clean water, or education, or medical treatment, or there are people who are living their lives looking for ways that they can help other people. And if there were no other people to help, those people would have nothing to do. Not, I mean, that's basically, I'm seeing that the purpose of suffering is to keep me in a place where I think that there's something I need to do and something I can do to fix what appears to be broken. But in reality, nothing is broken. So all of that is just a play that the ego is doing. Does this make any sense? Am I making any sense to anybody right now other than myself?
Perfectly.
There wouldn't be anybody if there was nobody to help. There wouldn't be any helpers. You wouldn't have
And
a need for help. If there wasn't if there wasn't sickness, you wouldn't have to try to be well. It's all part of the deception.
it's all part of the orchestration. Every moment has been divinely orchestrated for our benefit. So if there are people who are helping people, it is because they are compelled by the divine spirit to do that. And if there and since it's all happening in a dream and the dream isn't real, that doesn't mean it isn't perfect, because that's what we every moment we're learning something from it. Is there anything that's not perfect? No, there's no such thing. So even if we see suffering in the world, we're not seeing the divine Christ, the divine love that everything really is. We're looking at it from an ego point of view. But if we decide, can I do something to help it, then we're coming from a place of love and charity. How bad is that? I mean, there's still no way that anything can be described as bad. And anything that is condemned is ego condemnation. Because the divine infinite omnipresence is love. That is the only reality. So there is no condemnation. So there's no need for forgiveness.
Right. Right. Exactly, Rafi. And I think this is exactly what this is saying. Um, let's see. Oh, that's my daughter calling me. I will turn the mic over to you, Brooklyn.
Well, what? Oh, I love this. I love this stuff. I love us. I want to quote my dear sister Mickey when she was talking with Lenny, and when we say we try to save the world, we're trying to save an illusion. It's not that you don't lead with the heart, be the love that we are. But we couldn't tell Marianne Williamson this, but we don't know what anything is for, and I love Marianne Williamson. Did I just make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Thank you. Thank you. That Annie, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that love and love's extension, or God's world, is here right where we are. Otherwise, we achieve separation from it. Love's extension is the earth and heaven as one. Our job is to turn the movie projector off, because the personal is projecting this movie and obscuring our vision. And all we can see is our human thinking movie
Come
and
on.
its images, instead of the God's world that's right where we are. So that's more our job, is discovering together, how do we turn this movie projector off? Because only in that movie projection, that overlaid movie, is there good and evil, or war and peace, and the whole gamut of it.
That's
So
right.
so until we've turned the movie projector off, the soul's going to weep at what it sees. And it's only when that's gone, it is finished, that we can see God's world and be back where we all belong. So I'm complete.
Thank you, Annie. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening.
Love is
Uh,
waving his hand.
Love wants to share.
did you want to say something, or you're just waving?
You muted.
I want to say something.
Okay.
Actually, you can't turn the projector off. You can only laugh at it. You just don't take it seriously. That's the only thing you can do. The projector will keep going on as long as you got a body, because we're projecting it onto the screen. And you can't turn the screen off as long as you got two eyes and a brain. You're going to see the world. You just don't take it seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Dove. And thank you, everybody. All right. So, yeah, Regis, are you having a big rainstorm over there? Because we sure are over here. That's my daughter.
Yep. Hail and rain. Yep.
She said, "Is it snow? Is it crazy over there?" I said, "Yes, it is." So, but we made it through. So, all right, you guys, I love you all so very much. Thank
Bye,
you
everyone.
for coming.
Love us.
Let's see. I did get, okay. I got Shelly's email. I got Chrissy's email. Jean, do I have your email? If you put it in the chat.
Mr. Regis, I have to say, I love the way